Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. I first want to thank the Central Vermont Career Center for hosting us and everyone for coming by to see the great work done by these CTE students who are up there watching us at this point in time, repairing a mobile home damaged by last summer's flood. Now, as many of you know, I've been in the shoes and boots of many of the students here today, and I got my start in the trades here at Spalding. After graduating, I went to UVM to become a CTE instructor, and after receiving my certification to teach, decided to go into business instead. I spent 35 years in the construction industry, and I've seen for myself the need for workers with the kind of skills that you're learning right now. I've also seen a positive change in the stigma surrounding CTE. I want to thank teachers and administrators for their help, because these are great careers, and we desperately need more in the trades. And as our workforce gets older, we'll continue to need more skilled trades workers in Vermont. Last summer, a number of mobile home parks across Vermont were devastated by the floods, resulting in several mobile homes being condemned. We saw the need to help those families who not only lost everything, but weren't getting the maximum FEMA benefit. And we were responsible for getting their homes removed from the lots. So we brought together a team from a number of different agencies to make sure no one in these parks had to worry about or pay for their home to be removed or deconstructed. And we provided state money to get them up to their full FEMA amount. In total, we distributed $670,000 to 31 homeowners. We also found a few homes were salvageable and could be repaired and used again. So we reached out to CTE centers to see if they'd be able to and interested in renovating these units as part of their training. I saw this as a real opportunity for students to get creative with their design, get some hands-on experience to help them build the skills needed to work in the trades after high school. Things like restoring the interior and exterior, moving windows or doors around, weatherizing, and replacing the wiring and plumbing to bring it up to code, which are skills many of you here today have been building on all year long and will use in your careers to come. Importantly, this work will add to the number of homes available for Vermonters, helping with our housing shortage. Once these units are complete, they'll leave the CTE centers as a healthy home for someone to live in much better shape than when they arrived. And while this is just one small piece of a bigger strategy my team is working on, it's important because mobile homes are a way to quickly and more affordably bring homes online faster. So to the CTE students here today, whether you're about to graduate or you'll be back next year, I hope you've learned a lot from this, and more than just the day-to-day work on the home itself, but the feeling that comes along with seeing a project through from start to finish, or almost finished. And knowing the work you've done here will benefit your community. And it doesn't have to stop here. Whether it's helping out an elderly neighbor, or sprucing up a park or playground, there are opportunities all around us to get involved and leave our communities better than we found them. So with that, we're over to CVCC's Director, Jody Emerson. Jody.
Good morning, and thank you, Governor Scott. We're certainly excited to learn about a potential opportunity for construction trades programs here to collaborate on a mobile home rehabilitation project in September, though at the time we had lots of questions. We accepted the challenge and received a grant that was required to be spent almost immediately, mobile home sight unseen, so that we could gather supplies and tools for the work. It was certainly difficult guessing, but our students and instructors jumped right in, pulled together a list, and placed their orders. The supplies arrived and we waited. We visited a few in the fall, October, and December, and then the mobile home you see here was delivered January 3rd. We applied for permits soon after. Students in our exploratory program completed the majority of the demolition starting in January and working through February. Governor Scott, you were here on January 29th and spoke with students about the project. Students and staff worked together to redesign the floor plan to ensure 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms in this mobile home. And once the permits arrived, the building trades, electrical, and plumbing and heating students collaborated on the renovation. There were also several businesses who supported this work, especially VHB. While not yet completed, students were able to get to work in the mobile home in late March through April and May, and have completed as much as they can this school year. It was great seeing the changes from across the parking lot throughout the spring and stopping by on occasion for a closer look. Our students are done here this week, and we'll be celebrating them tomorrow night. And we will be selling the mobile home as is via auction, which will open today and close on July 15th at 2 p.m. We hope to recoup the GEAR grant provided by the state and perhaps some of the additional costs of the project with CVCC and Coburn. The following students will now take a moment to share what they and their peers were able to do. We'll hear from Ronan Kelly from Building Trades, Owen Cheney and Kyle Fleury from Plumbing and Heating, and Ethan Garrison from Electrical Technology.
Hi, I'm Ronan Kelly. So Building Trades. A couple of the things that I kind of took for this project to work was I'm already not reading off my script. So there was a couple things that really helped us learn a lot more with this project than if we just did our in-shop building. So mobile homes often require various construction and renovation tasks, including we had to repair a lot of rotten floor joists and framework on the trailer. We replaced the subfloor completely, and we redid the roofing on it. And we also painted the new siding that's on it. So it gave us a diverse range of tasks we had to complete to get this done. Unlike shop-related tasks of us building, because we build it throughout the year and then we take it down at the end, this is something that we work on, and then we have a mostly completed project that we know is going to last a lot longer than just 1 year. This project's a bit more cost-effective than us building a complete structure outright and then selling it, because we already have a lot of the work's already done, so we're just fixing it. This has a bigger community impact than just putting more people into the workforce, because it's giving us something that we can actually put out into the community, so it's going to help with the affordable housing. So we partnered with a lot of other companies, like Efficiency Vermont, because they came out and told us basically how we can make it a bit more energy efficient for this. And so this mobile home project offered a lot of skills for us to learn that'll help us with our future careers in construction. And that's all I have.
My name is Ethan Garrison. I'm from the electrical program. It's kind of focusing a bit more on just what the electrical program did and all this. As said, we were tasked with rehabbing this trailer with the idea that someone's going to be buying and making this a home. So we all agreed to have the highest standard for work and everything that we do, highest standard. The opportunity started with us filing an electrical permit through the Berry City, and then making the electrical plans for it that follow all of the code in the NEC National Electrical Code Book. After filing the permit, we got started in the rough-in phase of the electrical work. We completed all of the basic circuits that are required in a home that you need for basic living. After this, we got in contact with the Berry City electrical inspector, who came down and inspected the mobile home and informed us on anything we actually needed to do, which we didn't let do much. A little bit of tweaking, and then we got approval to cover all the walls and start the trim out phase, which includes putting in all the devices and the lights and all that. I really enjoyed this opportunity and believe my classmates and I were able to use this real world education experience, and I think we'll take the knowledge that we learned in the first part of the year, put it into this, and apply it at a practical level that we'll remember forever.
My name is Kyle Fleury. I'm one of the students in plumbing and heating. We got a bit of a late start on the project because of some classwork stuff, but once we got out here, it definitely showed us that we can have something to use as a real life experience before we get out in the workforce. We did a lot of the venting for all the sewage, or for all the drainage. We had all the venting done in the walls and everything. Since our late start kind of pushed us back, we didn't get the drainage underneath the structure done, but all the water lines are ready for fixtures and future fixtures, and our tubs and showers, we're all set in place.
Hi, my name is Owen Cheney. I'm in the plumbing and heating program. I took lead on installing the boiler. We chose to do an NTI TRX 150C as our boiler, which the C stands for combination, and that runs our hydronic heating system, which will most likely be baseboard or whatever the owner chooses, and it also does your domestic hot water, which is your hot water to all your fixtures. We got the boiler up on the wall, and we built our manifold and got that all done. And that's about as far as we got before the end.
Open up to questions. Do you have a project?
Yeah, for any of the students, were there any surprises you encountered with this project timeline, given that this was a very flood damaged trailer? What was different about it, maybe, than what you've done in shop?
I think that it's an older kind of house that we're not used to because we're used to working with all the newer equipment. So being able to start something from an older project and tear it all down and then build it back up with the newer stuff and upgrade it and design it how we'd like is kind of cool. I feel like retrofitted.
We also had to, when working on like the floor joists for the flooring, we actually had to pull out a lot of the rim joists, which you would typically have framed out, and then you put all the floor joists in that. But we had to rip out rim joists to replace it with new pieces of wood. So that was kind of a different way of fixing it.
Yeah, just kind of seeing how existing projects can get damaged by water kind of gave us a bigger idea of how we can help waterproof certain things. You know, add like this, I don't know exactly what it's called, like this paste stuff that helps waterproof our electrical stuff. Helping with rust.
It was definitely a different experience from all our shop work because everything we do in the shop is new built and we don't have any unexpected surprises come up with mold that was hidden behind drywall and other hidden objects before we start digging into the project. So that's definitely something different we don't learn in the classroom.
When is this home going to be ready, and how do we determine who's going to live in it? Is this going to be carved aside for flood survivors, or how does that process work?
We're using a typical auction process like we would have with the double wides that this center used to make. It's going to be sold as is, so it's not going to be completed beyond what you're seeing here today, unless, of course, my staff wants to rally in PD next week and finish it up, which is also possible. So we are opening that today, and we will close it at 2 p.m. on July 15th and select the winning bid. And if that works out, great. If not, it goes to the next person, and so on and so forth.
Are any of you guys seniors? And if so, you got any plans yet for what you're going to be doing next year?
So that's me. So I'm a senior at Spalding High School. I took part in Spalding's JRTC program, and in early July, I'm going to be shipping out to the Navy to do their nuclear engineering program.
Where was this home located when it flooded last year?
This is believe this one came from River Run in Berlin.
This one came from Johnson, actually.
Well, this is Johnson.
This is a Johnson.
Sorry about that.
Okay. And do we know how many homes that were flooded last year have been rehabbed through this program?
We have, let's see, two, I believe, at River Bend in Bradford. We have one here. We have one up in Enosburg. I'm not sure if there's one in Lemoyne or not. That's about it for now.
And what kind of state was this home in when it came to you, and what kind of work, did you need to do to make it safe for people to live in again?
I got. We looked at it before. So our class came in before the exploratory program came in and started the demolition, and there were many holes in the floor. There was a lot of visible rot on it, and there was the door that's right here. There was almost no wood underneath it, so it was a very precarious situation for that door. So that was where a lot of the big stuff we had to replace was. So it was pretty bad.
This one was, as this was mentioned, was flooded in Johnson, and the homeowner had taken up part of the flooring to try and dry it out and so forth. And had done a lot of that work, and it's the starting of the demolition. So then he stopped, got tied up with life, and wasn't able to continue. He was living in a tent outside the mobile home for a number of months.
Many of these mobile home parks that were flooded out, you go there today, there's still some trailers there, others like River Run are completely wiped out, gone, taken away. I mean, is the state allowing people to still build or people to put homes on these properties?
Yeah, it's more on the local level. For instance, in Berlin, they determined, the administrator of the town government decide whether they can move back in or not. There are a number of, like in Johnson, they've elevated a number of the homes. So after Irene, they have elevated a number, like a couple of feet, and these were in a different section, and they're elevating these as well when they put them back in. So it's different for different governments.
Also this session, Governor, as you know, not every CTE center has the capacity for a program like this. There was a bill that took a look at the governance and funding structures of CTE to try to make it more equitable statewide. Do you know where that bill landed and what effect that could have for opportunities like this for students?
Well, first I want to say that we hope that this program will continue. We provided the seed money for the CTE centers to divide the materials and so forth, and then they can do what they want with it. We hope that they're going to put it back into the program because as you move across the state, there are a number of mobile homes and parks that are dilapidated and need to be renovated. And what better project than this to teach about real life? And what better way than to be able to bring the mobile home right to your CTE center rather than traveling by bus. That's what they said in Enosburg. They've done other projects throughout the county, but they spend an hour or two just taking a bus and going to the location and back. Putting it in the parking lot allows them that access. And again, a number of different disciplines. Electrical, plumbing, to some other rough carpentry, finished carpentry, and so forth. So it teaches you all facets of renovation and construction. So that's the good news. In terms of, there were some CTE centers that were interested in the program, but it just didn't line up. They'd already had some manufactured homes that they were obligated to finish, so they didn't have an opportunity to do that. But I think in the future, there's, again, a lot of opportunity to build out this program, to bring some of these mobile homes in that are in desperate need, and then put them into good use. Do you know anything about the CTE bill that passed? Any update on that?
We're working with a consultant.
nothing on the CTE portion of the tax.
Or did or did not?
It did not.
Oh, it did not. Got it.
I know you've got a meeting this week, Governor, with legislative leaders to discuss education finance proposals, alternatives to the yield bill. Following that meeting, will you be sharing with the public your proposal? Are there any details you can share now?
I don't want to get ahead of it. The meeting will be held in the next day or so, but we hope to share that with you. Whatever we have, we want to share. I would like to give them an opportunity to see it first.
Just Vermonters that are worried about this issue of some broad contours of what's going on.
It's not going to be much different than what we presented. There may be a few more ideas. There's been some upgrades in our revenue forecast, more money coming in. So we want to provide, again, an option, a menu of options that could reduce the rates for property owners.
Just can you remind folks, sort of just in plain language, what was that proposal that you put forward to lawmakers in April?
Doug, do you remember any of that? Or anybody here remember all the details of the proposal? It'd be better coming from Craig, because Commissioner Katz presented that.
Super high level, though. Conceptually, what do you have in mind?
Must have been in the room.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, though. You're the governor. This is your plan. How would you explain to Vermonters what it is we want to do?
There are a number of different initiatives that we think we can buy down some of the rates. That's part of it. We can utilize some of what they've done to get them down into something reasonable. I mean, I don't think an 18% increase was reasonable. I don't think 14% was reasonable. I think the average everyday Vermonters, when they get their property tax bills in July or August, are going to be shocked at the increase. So I think we have to do everything we can to bring that down a little bit further. Again, we have a number of things that we presented over the last session, as well as previous to that, and some new ideas as well. But I'd like to wait until we present that to the legislature, and then you'll see it for yourself.
As you said, this is a proposal that you did present to the legislature. You said it won't be much any changes to it.
Some of it, some of it will be changed.
So
the deferment portion will not be on it. We're not going on that at this point.
Can you explain what the deferment option was?
That was like a loan to school districts over a 5-year period. They will pay that back to buy down the rates.
So, again, very high level, what would be the mechanism by which you buy down rates?
The surplus, we're using surplus money now. The legislature had some taxes that they've included. That will stay included. There'll be some things like that. But there's some other provisions as well.
13.8% average right now statewide. What would your proposal be?
I'd like to see it get down to 4 or 5%.
Your plan will achieve
if
that?
you took it all, sure.
And you said the deferment will not be offered? Not offered. Okay. Do you know how?
But I do want to clarify something here. I mean, I know there was a lot of concern from the treasurer and I appreciate the concern, but we did meet with the bonding companies, the rating agencies. They did provide their rating, and they knew what we were contemplating, and they went ahead and gave us a rating, which is, and they've already gone out for bonds, which are giving us a pretty good rate on that. They did include in some of their language, at least one standard of poor, I believe, that said they're very concerned about the structural issues within the education fund. So they continue to want us to work on the structural aspect of the education fund.
And do you know, like, just how ahead of forecast are the revenues? Like, how significant is that improvement that could be put towards property taxes?
But we know that there was some included in the budget.
Right.
And we believe that there's going to be an increase. 1st of July. How much that is we're trying to determine that at this point in time with the economists.
And is that revenue upgrade, is that related to the eclipse at all?
Hard to say. It's coming from all sources. I don't believe so, but I still believe it's going to come.
For Interim Secretary Saunders, you mentioned previously about the equity issues around budgets that aren't yet passed. We're in Barrie district, still looking to pass a budget. Can you talk a little bit about your thinking there? How are, for the districts that are yet to pass school budgets, what effects do you see that having?
I think the districts that are still seeking to pass budgets are certainly concerned about planning for the next academic year and are really moving into the position of trying to be practical around how to get things in place to open school in the fall. I think I previously shared that as we looked at funding across the state, some of the budgets that haven't passed are some of our lowest spending districts. I think that just reinforces that we do have a broader equity concern where we're seeing high spending tend to be our more affluent districts. And those communities that are more rural and high poverty are spending less. So I think that's something we need to be looking at as we approach this work from the equity lens.
In what ways, Madam Secretary, would the proposal that you're putting before lawmakers get at that equity?
I think in all of our conversations, that has to be our lens, and I think that was originally the intent that has been the ongoing conversation around how do we approach this work in a way to make sure that we are equity funding across the district. And I think there's lessons to be learned from prior reform efforts as we move forward with that plan.
And how specifically would the plan that you are working on right now advance equity in Vermont's education system?
So as the governor mentioned, this will be an ongoing dialogue as we explore this variety of options. But as we go to the table and have these discussions, we certainly need to be intentional about how it will impact our rural communities and high poverty communities, and that needs to be at the core of the conversation.
From talking to school business managers, it sounds like it's fairly typical for a district. They get their education payment on April 30th. They wait till September 10th to receive their next education payment. They might take out a line of credit in that interim period to make payroll. Is the AOE doing any work with districts without budget to ensure that they can continue to make payroll in those couple of months between education payments when they may not have a budget and be struggling for cash flow?
So we did recently provide some guidance to districts and just to clarify how this process will work in terms of those particularly that are struggling to pass a budget. So that guidance did go out, and I think that has been quite helpful in terms of explaining the variables that play and what the different scenarios would be. But our teams continue to provide technical assistance and answering questions as needed to those districts.
And it would still be, the districts would seek private funding, right? It's not like the district can get a loan from the ed fund to continue meeting payroll.
I'd have to defer to our team on that.
Governor, H687, the Act 250 reform bill, is on your desk now. Do you plan to sign or veto it?
I'm still weighing that all out. As I said before, you have to weigh the good versus the bad. There's a lot of bad in the bill from my perspective. A few pieces of good, but we're still weighing that all out. We have until Thursday.
Can you just say more specifically what you see as the good parts and the bad parts?
Well, the housing piece, and to be perfectly blunt, that's why they put the two together. They put the long-range conservation bill in with some housing in hopes that they get it across the finish line. But again, I'm balancing the housing piece, which is the good piece, the portion, with the long-term conservation piece that will be devastating for rural Vermont in the coming years. So just have to weigh that out and see if the short-term gain is worth it.
The debate this session really centered on this NRB study that happened last summer that had this compromise to relax Act 250 in already developed areas and strengthen it and, you know, sensitive ecosystems. I mean, do you buy that compromise? Does it satisfy you?
Well, again, this will affect rural Vermont dramatically. Everything will be under Act 250 and further stagnate the growth in economic centers and economic growth. So that's why I'm fearful. Like, what is the long-term negative effect? Does that, when we balance that out with a short-term gain for housing, which we desperately need, is it worth it?
I mean, even in the long term, there are exemptions for housing in cities and towns.
Well, some of them sunset.
Well, some of them sunset, but then there's a longer term plan too.
That's not a long time to get the housing that we need. I mean, again, we're thousands of units behind. So, you know, that will play into this as well. I know I think the Senate had proposed something longer, and then I think in conference committee maybe it was brought back. So it's only years to some of the housing proposals. They extended that, it could make it more palatable.
Governor, what about the data privacy bill and kids code? Those are kind of together. That's on your desk.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the private right of action?
Well, again, that's a big concern to me, the private right of action. As well, we're receiving enormous amount of concerns from small businesses throughout the state, and that's elevated over the last 2 or 3 days. The kids code portion is a portion that got brought into the bill because that's one of the good pieces as well. But small businesses are very, very concerned. Vermont businesses.
What kinds of concerns are you hearing?
Across the board. I mean, they're all for the goal of this bill, but they feel as though they're really tying the hands of them. And they would have been I think they would have been behind a bill like the Connecticut bill that would have provided the protection they believe that most Vermonters need. In fact, New Hampshire they signed on to a Connecticut bill in your legislature this past year. So it's unfortunate. We had to go beyond that. Maybe we're just stuck to the Connecticut model built from there. Everyone but there's a lot of controversy at this point.
In your campaign materials, you talk about being a young person, a small business owner seeking to expand
That was a wild one.
You had me fooled. And running into Act 250 troubles trying to expand your business. How is that like a influential moment in your sort of political awakening?
It wasn't, I wouldn't say so, but it was certainly devastating to me as someone who was just out of college and had gone into business and was building a shop in Morrisville. I thought I'd cross all the T's and dotted all the I's and gone through the local and some state. I had no idea what Act 250 was or that I had to apply for it until I was about 90% complete on this building. I was building it myself, and there was a cease and desist order from Act 250, and that shut me down for about a year. And again, that was devastating to me because I had no income, I had nothing other than what I put in the sweat equity I put in the building, and I couldn't open. So it was, life-changing for me at that point. Maybe in some respects, it got me to move into a different path. I went to work for a construction company that my uncle had owned, and the rest is history, and I did all right in that area. So maybe it was a blessing, who knows, but it was devastating to me at that point. All right. Thank you. Are you going to see something? Thank you.
Thanks.